morning. So long week we had. I am not only tired, we are finally getting some colder weather here where you know, we were getting days before where it was like 70s, 80s, and then 110 degrees. That's what it felt like and seemed like, but it seems like we're steadily getting closer to feeling like fall weather. Got a lot of stuff in this video. Got some stuff on the dyno. Got an interesting FRS with I think I teased it last week. It was supposed to be in last week's video. K series, so we got that on there. Got another car too that I was tuning, and I wasn't planning on getting video of it, and then it just so happened we were having some problems on the dyno with it. So as you know, if you continue to watch my videos, I love to educate and show you guys the other side of stuff. I know most people are just used to seeing the big power pulls on the dyno, and you know, I think there's I think just a lot of people don't realize a lot of stuff can happen during a tuning session, and no matter how much you plan for it too. So we got some stuff going on, like I said, on the dyno. We have another car too that's it was towed into the shop from another shop that did an engine swap and claimed that it ran, but when it showed up, obviously it didn't. We informed the customer, and the customer actually got me on the phone with the, I don't know who it was, someone at the other shop, and you can tell, or I could at least tell in a sense, that they knew it never ran. The owner said he saw it run too, but there was so much stuff that there's no way. And then when I was talking to the other person on the phone, you know, I was telling them everything that was wrong in a sense, and I said, hey, well, you guys can fix that. And you could almost tell they didn't want to deal with it. They didn't want the car back in their shop for whatever reason. So got that going on, and a couple other things too. So hopefully you enjoy, and I was gonna say enjoy your Friday or whatever day you're watching this. Let's get to it. So next one up is this FRS, but it's not your typical FRS. This one has a K24 underneath the hood, and I'll be tuning it on Haltech today. So some things I want to go into that correspond to what I've been talking about. I'm going to get started on this one. It is important and key for me to get right on this one. If I recall correctly, I believe the customer was coming from about 2 hours away or so. So I'm going to get into this. I'm going to pop back in here, and we're going to keep the coverage coming. So everything's going really good. I'm about to take a quick lunch. Going to call the customer up, just let him know, hey, you know, things are going good. You know, I understand, you know, even though this one's all motor, I understand dyno time is stressful for people, so we like to keep people updated. I will add, one of my guys had a family emergency involving his son, so I will be hopping off and making that phone call really quickly. I do want to get a little bit more into the data logs and show you guys, since we have been talking about data logs. So I'm going to eat a quick lunch, come back in here. I don't know if the next video will actually be in the car in a sense. I want to finish it up and call the customer and let him know. He did want to come back and take some videos. He's in the area, which we allow. At the very end, when we're wrapping everything up, you can come back. You can get some videos, pictures, whatever you like. You know, I tell people I can do 1, 2 pulls. I can do 10 if you want me to. So I'll be back. So here is the data log, and now what I want to show you guys is with Haltech and utilizing the data log viewer, I can put 2 different data logs together. So what I'm showing you is the pink line is a good a vehicle that the alternator is charging like it should during a pull. So right now you can see as well during the pull that the red one is not charging, and then you go up here, and what I'll do is I'm going to start clicking this and moving it along. You're going to see the numbers are going to change And the red, as we progress in the pool, it's going down more. And the pink is staying steady. The other readings are more so the max that we saw during that data log pull, and then the min that we saw, the minimum. So just another thing that you can do with Haltech, where if you're just trying to compare a data log to another data log, and let's just say you got two vehicles, and one vehicle you're uncertain if it should be working that way, and then you wanted to go test another vehicle really quickly, you can overlay the data log. So something nice too that you can do. And this is just not with Haltech too. There's other data log viewers with standalones as well, but like on a Flash Pro, S300, Kpro, you're limited. You couldn't do something like this. So I'm pretty much done here. I'm gonna wait on the customer. I just spoke to him on the phone. He just sat down to enjoy his lunch. Him and his father. I told him to take his time. I'm in no rush. There's no reason to rush over here. So, but I do have a little bit of extra time with the car here. He did ask about how his intake box was going. So what you gotta keep in mind is, I'll show you the other side. Let me hop over this dyno area and not fall and break my neck. Hold on. Gotta walk on the beam. Anyways, going back to his power. He was asking a little bit, but I think he wants to wait till he sees me in person with the numbers. But he asked about his box, his air box. You know, he did mention originally that I think I could take some stuff off if I wanted to. Now, what I was saying is keeping in mind how many K-Series engines I tune. It seems like once a day I'm in something with a K-Series in it. So I can use his power graph, and also there's stuff inside the tune that will tell me how overall the setup's performing. Right now, we're about down 5 horsepower, and I believe it's more so because of this box. I have my reasonings more so, and I'm going to talk to him about that and talk to the overall with the tune and explain that to him. But, you know, a simple rule of thumb is if your car up top is commanding less fuel in a sense that it should be, well, the quicker you can get air in and the quicker you can get air out, and I don't think it's his exhaust, well, you're going to need more fuel. You see where I'm going with that in a sense? So I do believe you can make maybe about 5 more horsepower. Now, I'm going to say this too, as I tell people. That 5 horsepower, are you going to notice a difference on the street? No, not at all. You know, I tell guys, if we're using an example, let's say if you got a short ram intake and you can go with a Kohler intake, but I know how some people don't like to drive Kohler intakes on a daily. They're worried about the rain and hydro lock. So then you got to ask yourself, is that 5 horsepower worth it? Or let's say he had an exhaust let's say he had a smaller exhaust. Every now and then we see some guys come in with a smaller exhaust, and I tell them, hey, you do a little bit of a bigger exhaust, you can make a little more power. How much power? Well, sometimes it's hard to say, 2 to 3 horsepower, 4 to 5 horsepower, but with an exhaust, and where I'm going at that is, well, if you got a little bit of a restriction in the exhaust, maybe a little bit smaller piping, just a little bit. What else is going to change if you go with bigger exhaust, maybe get rid of the muffler, resonator? The sound. So is it worth taking the enjoyment of driving a car, not being able to hear yourself or the passenger when they're talking, to get that little bit of horsepower? Well, you know, it all depends. It all depends on you. You have to ask yourself that. And of course, it all depends on what the vehicle is used for. This car has full interior. I'm going to guess that it's just not a fully dedicated track car. He's going to want to enjoy this on the street, hopefully with his father. He said they were both car guys. So I want to show you guys one more thing too, because I had some people ask me about if they only have one oxygen sensor. I don't think I've covered this, how I hook mine up. And he does have the Haltech wideband that is operating and running. I'll show you really quick before the car goes home. So we basically have a small little piece of pipe. It's just welded onto a stand. Our oxygen sensor. Now, yes, the reading going to be a little bit different at certain times because it is so close to the tip, but that also goes with experience of me doing this for quite some time, knowing the compensation, and ultimately why I have this set up in here and ratchet strapped and whatnot. It's just another sensor, it's the second wideband sensor, just to make sure his is working correctly, not seeing anything weird. It's better to have 2 to go off of than 1, as I would say. So for the people that have been asking me, like, how do you do it? Or if I have an O2 bung that sees, what do you do? I do this. Now, if your primary sensor is not working, well, of course, as I said in my other video, you should get that replaced. We don't like to do this in the tailpipe and have this be the only sensor. I don't like to. I've done it before. It is what it is. I mean, you're talking about how many cars that I tune. You're talking about some of these cars are daily driven cars. Sometimes when the car gets set up for me on the dyno, would my guys like things done differently? Yeah, sure. Sometimes it has to be. But this one I'm not too concerned about or anything like that because, like I said, his Haltech wideband is working great. And it's a whole other story on itself. But if you got a Haltech, you should have the Haltech wideband. And talk to me more about that if you're looking to make a purchase. Oh, I will add too before I forget. Everything on the dash works like it should too. So there you go. So I got in this morning ready for my dyno tune. Had him scheduled for 9 a.m. and he is late. So I just messaged him. He messaged back shortly after. It seems like he's going to be about 30 to 45 minutes late. So as I'm waiting here, figured I'd do a video, let you guys see what I'm waiting for and how my day's going, trying to kind of timeline it, progress it. When he shows up, I'm going to make sure that he looked over the dyno checklist that we have. Anybody watching this video and you don't know we have a dyno checklist, hit us up. We can send it to you. It's free of charge. Going to talk to him, see if he has any questions, and then go from there. So next video you'll see, hopefully he makes it here. Car gets here. We'll get it on the dyno, and we'll go from there. So got it loaded up on the dyno, and there's a couple things that just are leaving me speechless. I don't know why. I'm going to show you guys. I'm not insulting anybody. I'm not making fun of everybody. I'm just showing you an aspect of my life and what I do on a daily basis. So I don't need anybody taking it the wrong way. You could take it however you want. If you've been watching my videos and you're a you know, over and over, then you already know that, and I didn't have to give that little intro. But a couple things before I forget. We are tight on that battery terminal. This one over here is tight too, but I'd like to see this thing secured better. Inside the bay, well, you know, fuse box that is not secure, of course, worries me that there's no cover on it too. I noticed that the intake arm doesn't have a clamp on it. It feels like it's in there, but you know, just case in point, if this were to fall, hit this, it's never a good thing. We got some wires in the back, which my flash does work. I didn't get I'll try to remember to get a video too. Couldn't get a video before it went on the dyno because my phone was out of battery. But there's some weird stuff going on underneath too that we saw. One of the ball joints is like, I don't know if the threads were cut, but it's not on there to a point where I'd feel safe driving it on the road. It's definitely got me my alert in my brain. We're gonna see how this thing wants to roll on the dyno. I don't know what happened over there. I don't know. Yeah, besides that, I did take the spark plugs out. They were fairly old. Put a fresh set in. I see that the injectors were wired up. Hopefully the connection underneath is really good and solid. I will say too, because I just had a talk with a customer on this. This ground needs to be moved. Not only does Honda recommend always to have it on the valve cover, well, what you have to think about is, okay, that's a ground. And yes, the intake is metal, but the gasket in between is separating the intake from the actual engine. The reason you want it on here and why it's a better ground is because it's actually going to go into the stud that's going to go into your engine. So we're going to see, and this is the main ECU ground. So there's sometimes some stuff that I can see while I'm tuning it in data logs. We're going to see if anything raises a red flag that this needs to be moved. And if it does need to be moved while it's on the dyno, we can possibly do it. I only say possibly because the wires are fairly tight, which how they have it ran. So we're going to see. We're going to go from there. We're finally getting some colder weather. It's not super cold, but it also is not 120 degrees on the dyno, which is nice. I got a little bit of the sniffles. I don't know if something's going around. My daughter's been sick for a little bit here with, I don't know, the doctor I think said it was a sinus infection or there was water in her one ear. I don't know. So, besides that, we'll get this thing going. I'll be back, and we'll take it one step at a time. I just noticed really quickly, because I noticed that the bolt was missing, so I just wanted to see how loose this was. More so it just doesn't fall out on the dyno. And got the whole fender moving too. So this one looks like the bracket's completely broke off. Oh. So we got one bolt on there, but not tight either. So we're gonna see how many noises we can hear while it's on the dyno. I'm gonna hop in. Oh, I did notice one thing too. Here, I don't know. I just, it's weird, but I'm hoping it's not from this inside this motor. But hold on. So as I was inside here, just setting up, I looked over. I saw what appears to be a valve spring. Just weird to have in there, but it is what it is. You know, one thing I want to mention too, and the dyno fans are on, so if I'm speaking a little bit louder, I'm not trying to yell, but when the car is running, even if it's idling good, what I like to do is I like to take the IACV duty adjustment, the duty cycle, and if I turn this all the way up or all the way down and nothing happens, well, then I know your IACV is not responding. Either it's not hooked up, either it's not working, but at least I know that I can make a note now. So even if it's idling right now, it's about 75 degrees out, give or take. When it gets to, like, let's say 5 degrees and you hit us up and you say, hey, my car doesn't want to stay running, well, your IACV is not working. So now the customer at least knows that as well. And as I always say in my videos, you get a little bit more when you come to me for a dyno tune. I want to make sure things are working. I want to make sure later on that if you do have an issue, we can kind of isolate and target it and help you later on. So I want to just kind of point that out really quickly. And, if you got a Kpro or any kind of system in your car, you can do that quickly. Every program's a little bit differently, but that at least rules out. You don't have to question if your IACV is working. And if you wanted to take care of that before the dyno tune, that's something you can do too. Coincidentally, at the very end of the tune, the car did not want to stay running at idle because his idle air control valve was not working. I talked to him. He does watch the videos. So now the whole purpose, when I tell you guys, I'm trying to educate people, open up that mind. Let's say he goes home, he replaces the idle air control valve, and let's say he doesn't watch this clip. He might call back and say, hey, how can I test this myself? Well, if you watch this clip, which will point him in this direction too, he already states that he watches our videos, which I'm going to come back and talk about too shortly. Now he can see that. And this is why I keep putting these videos out and why I'm trying to throw something in these videos that it's going to help you guys later on. Maybe you're struggling with an issue and you're searching something late at night and you come across this video and it helps you out. And I do get the comments that these are helpful, and I do get the emails. So I appreciate that. And I forgot to mention, I forgot to mention in the early clip, please like, subscribe, and share, and comment down below because it helps the channel grow. So, okay, so I just started to do a pull, and I stopped halfway through, and when I let off, something over here sounded like it. I'm hoping it's just the engine rocking. It was a loud clunk. So what I'm going to do in the next video is I'm going to try to position my tripod. Keep an eye over here. I'm going to be looking over here as well. It was more than just like this intake moving and hitting something. It was definitely enough that, I got a little worried that something was going to, maybe the wheel let go or something. So I'm going to just see if it's something as simple as maybe his engine is rocking back. He does have stock mounts on there. So we're going to see. So this next pull, keep an eye out in this area. I'm going to try my best to position my tripod. So the engine is definitely rocking. I still feel like though something's coming from over here, like on the tire more so, suspension. So I'm gonna set the tripod up over here now, see if I can capture anything, see if the wheel's moving back and forth. I did notice too, not on this one more so, and this is loose, but that wouldn't be causing it. I noticed on the other side, the lug nuts are different. What is it, spacing more so. Here, take a look. Walk over here. I'm not saying this, is causing an issue or anything either, but just something that I can visually see when I'm doing like a once over really quick. So that's why I just wanted to make sure, those lug nuts are good. But more so too, you'll see when I pull it off the suspension stuff I was also talking about. So I just looked over the videos. It looks like the wheel itself is not moving, so that's reassuring. I would kind of just say it's the engine mounts at this point. And on that last little clip, if it seemed like the car was going up and down or whatnot, I was letting the clutch out a little bit quicker to try to make anything, if the suspension was loose, move around. So, you know, it's normally not that bouncy on the dyno. Some cars are, though, don't get me wrong. In some cars too, if, you know, a lot of people don't realize, unless you have actually ran a dyno, front wheel drive cars, you have to hold on to the steering wheel. On some cars, you have to hold on, or else the car is going to want to come off the dyno. Some cars are worse than others. So if you ever watch a video, and if you ever see me doing a rear wheel drive car, you don't have to hold the steering wheel, of course, but it's just like that nature where I'm so used to it. But like I said, at this point, I'm gonna make the note on the notes so he knows that on top of the IACV. I will also say he only had one spot on in the header for an O2 sensor. I elected to take his out just because of the condition that it was looking like. Put mine in. That means closed loop will be disabled. I will mention that to him as well. There was one other thing that it's at the tip of my tongue, and I just can't remember right now. I'm sure as soon as I'm done with the video, I'll remember. So I'll come back though with an update. So I did say I would mention, or I did say I would cover, after I got the car off the dyno. You see how this ball joint is on there? And you go over here. So this ball joint's barely on there. So I don't know what's going on, but definitely something. And then, you know, I noted that he would get a little more power if he took care of the exhaust. It's got not the greatest. Looks like it, I don't know if it's 2.5 all the way, but definitely can make some more power there. Can make some more power with a better intake too. That's all on his notes. But yeah, this one's pretty much a wrap. At the very beginning, I mentioned a car that was towed in and not running, and we can kind of tell, but we're told it did run. This is the vehicle, and this is how it came with the ECU just sitting here and whatnot. I am going to add, we have a bunch of other videos too that confirm that this thing never ran. One of them was when it showed up, the way that the serpentine belt, with how crooked it was missing bolts, it was missing spacers. I mean, you can even see that it has no radiator cap. And as I get into it more, the more and more I am backing up those thoughts of it never running before. But I'm gonna save that for another video, because I can literally make this over an hour long. I have some other video clips of this car and some stuff that we took care of, so I don't know if I'm going to feature it in our next video. I don't know where it's going to land, but since I am on this vehicle this week, I'd figure that I would show you guys. So this one is a wrap. I will say that I had some other content too that I wanted to kind of put into it. But at the same time, I do watch how long these videos go. I have been doing them a little bit longer just to test the waters. And I will say I am trying to get enough, not only enough content, because I have enough content, it's actually sitting down and being able to take the time out and edit that stuff. Some videos, you're gonna see nothing but dyno tune stuff. Other videos, you might see other stuff. It's just how the cookie crumbles. What you have to remember, and I've said it before in my videos, I'm not getting paid to do this stuff. So the last thing I would want to do is cover something else and then have to tell a customer, well, we couldn't get your stuff done because I was covering a YouTube video. I don't get paid for this stuff. I wouldn't mind getting paid later on, but that's why we got to help the channel grow. I truly do like to help educate you guys, and take the knowledge that I have learned over the many years of doing this. It's been about 25 years in this industry. I will say we already got another one loaded up on the dyno. We keep things rolling here. This one, you'll see some footage of it next week. I don't think it's going to be Monday. I'll try to figure out a day here where I can maybe get a day off, maybe take a break. I love to work though, so I'm usually always constantly here, but I'll try to get back to 2 videos a week, maybe even 3. As I said before too, I got some stuff in the works, and we'll go from there. As I forgot to mention before in the first clip, which I'll throw some text in there later on, please like, share, subscribe. If you got this far, thank you. Let's keep this channel growing so I can keep providing content and go from there. Thanks, everyone.